Hi everybody, my name is Paul Stevens and I'm president of Acuity. I'm just going to take you through a little bit of an introduction to Acuity and the presenters that we have for today and the topic, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Acuity Incorporated has been providing consulting and delivering engineering technologies to hundreds of customers across the U.S. since the late 80s. We're a relatively small group of people with a special set of skills and a passion for helping engineering and manufacturing companies solve the data and process issues that prevent them from succeeding. My co-presenters today are Doug Dingus, who's our technical director, and Pat Kennedy, who is our senior application engineer in charge of PLM services. So the agenda today, we're going to provide a profile of a Northwest discrete manufacturer that we've been doing business with for a number of years, and we're going to take you through the issues and challenges that they've had, the short-term pains that they've experienced, and talk about how we've scoped a solution to their pains and the long-term growth objectives. We'll talk about the power of Teamcenter. Teamcenter is the product lifecycle management software that we represent from Siemens, and it's been deployed at this customer to solve a lot of the problems that we're talking about today. We'll talk about some implementation best practices associated with the Teamcenter software. And then we'll take you through a case study on another customer of Siemens that deployed Teamcenter software, and then just talk about next steps. So the company we're talking about today, this Northwest discrete manufacturer, it's a mid-size manufacturer. It's actually now part of a much larger conglomerate of manufacturers, but for many years, as a customer of ours, it was an independent company located here in the Portland area. It's a mature company, well-respected. Its focus is on new products and a high-quality, major industry supply chain and an OEM, and a long-time Acuity customer. So part of the growth aspect of this customer, it started out as one location about 17 years ago. It was a top-tier automotive supplier and a single small engineering group. And over the course of the last 17 years, it's grown to about 4 locations, mostly in the U.S. with some smaller locations overseas. It's an OEM consumer products division as well as an OEM supplier. And it has multiple larger engineering groups. So those are just a few of the many changes that have taken place in this company over the last 17 years. So now I'm going to hand it over to Doug, where he's going to talk about some of the challenges that we've addressed, that we've scoped out in this customer.
Hello, everyone. The challenges that they faced, first on the list there is failure to hit new product release dates consistently, and that had a lot of core causes. But the basic idea is that they weren't able to consistently get their product released on time, and they had a lot of manual ECO, ECN processes that related to that. They used multiple and sometimes legacy CAD tools, and there's a lot of collaboration, tribal knowledge going on. So there isn't really a consistent managed workflow, and those things led to reduced margins and high late to market opportunity costs, where their products got released and they're good products, but they weren't really released at the optimal time. Also, those things combined just add risk, where you don't have your processes quantified and or centrally managed. You sometimes don't know how they play out or how they interact, and those things present as risk. And on this next slide, the innovation adoption lifecycle, this is a visual way to understand the impact of what their problems were. So if you look over on the left-hand side, you'll see the innovators. Those are the very early adopters of a product. And then you've got the early adopters and the early majority, and there's a red-colored zone there. those are the highest margin users. They're first in the marketplace to buy technology. They're willing to pay a premium to be first. And not only do they rapidly adopt and use the technology, but they provide feedback and network effects, which impact the early majority and the late majority. When products are released during the early adopter time, that's optimal. And most of the product value in terms of profit and margin come back to the company. When a product is released in the early majority stage, it's non-optimal, and as much as half the value of the product will never return to the company in the form of margins and profits. So that's what drove a lot of their efforts to improve the company. It was simply a realization that they could get a lot more value out of their products if they had their processes and data management and PDM and PLM organized. And then there are other contributing things along the way. While fixing the core incentives or initiatives, they had an initiative to make as many things in the USA. They have local manufacturing, work smart, not hard. They're always on an effort to improve quality, and quality gets improved on a lot of different metrics. Data reuse, as they continue to use the data from their legacy CAD system and reuse their design data. The centralized PLM, the single source of truth for their managed data, helps them create new designs more quickly. And continuous process improvement in the form of workflow and having central data allows them to improve their company culture and maximize labor and IP investments and reduce risk further.
So what I wanted to talk about here in evaluating the scalability is just some of the components that we started talking about as we were doing project scoping for this customer that ended up being important when evaluating a PLM software's ability to provide expanded functionality in the growth areas. So these functions were particularly important to our Northwest Discrete manufacturer. And the functions were regulatory compliance management. This company was doing a lot of business in the early stages, a majority of its business, with major automotive manufacturers and export regulations in the automotive industry are now, over the last few years, requiring some complex regulatory compliance management pieces. So they needed to be aware of those. Project schedule and resource management were very important, but for many years it was either a manual process or a process that entailed maybe isolated licenses of products like Microsoft Project. And these things needed to be wrapped up and standardized and automated. Supply chain management, this customer was a large supplier to the automotive industry, but also had a fair size supply chain of its own. So it needed to take a look at how to manage better the supply chain aspect of its business. And ERP system integration. As many companies are doing today, they were looking at improving on a substantial ERP implementation that had taken place a number of years ago. And so this was happening simultaneously, and there needed to be some discussion about how the PLM system was going to talk to the ERP system and then the rest of their company. So now I'm going to have Pat Kennedy talk about how we worked with this company and understood some of the particular issues that were taking place. And then we'll go on to talk about some of the solutions that we offered.
Okay, thanks, Paul. Hi, everyone. As the previous slide pointed out, there are a lot of things that have to be taken into consideration. The PLM cannot be implemented in a vacuum, right? So we absolutely must understand the company and their issues in order for the PLM to be able to coexist with the existing systems and enhance the business processes. So this requires thorough planning, that we need to be able to pull existing data into this PLM system, this centralized system, so that all of the existing data is accessible to everyone, and yet only editable by those who are authorized to do so. We also have then, of course, the opportunity to address, like shown here, the ECO and change processes, where we're able to and streamline these standard processes of the ECR, ECO, ECN flow, and other things as well, whether request for tests or deviation authorization, any of those business workflows we can manage in PLM as well. And this helps us to bring some structure and repeatability to those informal or ad hoc processes. It allows us to capture tribal knowledge, and it brings consistency to the processes and makes for a natural and seamless place to store and manage data as it's being created. Another integral part of our delivery process is to provide specific and relevant training, as well as easy access to documentation. That this is how we ensure that the users get the greatest use out of the software. And finally, we work very closely with the company's IT department, in some sense actually becoming an extension of their team when needed to get the job done.
Thanks, Pat. So now about how we, the application that was a primary solution in addressing a lot of these issues and the expanded issues that we talked about at this customer site. Teamcenter is the product lifecycle management application from Siemens PLM software, and Teamcenter is a PLM system that is used by a majority of the OEMs in automotive, a majority of the OEMs in aerospace. It's got a huge following in high-tech and electronic, medical device manufacturing, and machinery. It's a software solution that has been adopted by a lot of the major companies and has a growing customer base in the small to medium-sized category. So I'm just going to talk about some of there's many applications with Teamcenter. Teamcenter has grown its scope to include a lot of the functions within a typical discrete manufacturing environment. I'm just going to talk about a few of the ones that we use to address this discrete manufacturer that we worked with. So design management, a single source of product and process knowledge. If we look at the data in most design environments, there's information specific to the definition of the product, as well as the general information, including a number of reference documents used when designing products or tooling. You also have engineering changes that occur and must be tracked. So Teamcenter combines those islands of information into a single secure source so you can find it quickly and easily, and then presents it back to you in a logical and easy to use and understandable format. So Teamcenter manages data with references to items or part numbers and revisions. It relates all kinds of data and types, such as spreadsheets, CAD models, assembly drawings, etc. It manages the release status and changes as a unit or package to ensure the integrity and aid reuse in subsequent projects, and enables you to share data with other users so any change is reflected in subsequent accesses. While everyone says they can do this, Teamcenter's underlying data model and technology allows you to actually do it. Teamcenter Designs focuses on helping you improve product quality and eliminate late-stage integration issues while providing an integrated approach to managing mechanical, electronic, software, and simulation design data and processes all in a single environment. To help you manage, find, share, and validate multi-domain design data. So as you can see there, we've got applications within Teamcenter that can easily manage mechanical design data, and we do this in a multi-CAD environment, so we've got integrations to most of the major CAD programs out there, not only ours, which include NX and Solid Edge, but SolidWorks, CATIA, Autodesk, ProEngineer, and a few others. We do the electrical design data. We've got many of the major ECAD applications out there that we've integrated to for Teamcenter so that we can manage version and revision of that ECAD data. We've got software applications that manage the software data, and then we can manage a full simulation data relationship. So that's the components of the software environment for managing data. Next, we'll talk a little bit about managing documents. So I get a lot of calls, and this was certainly prevalent in this discrete manufacturer that we worked with, to manage documents across an organization. And there are, of course, a lot of applications that simply do document management, but when you're talking about document management in the context of engineering and product development, that's a special area, and Teamcenter does a very good job of it. The Teamcenter empowers all knowledge workers by incorporating itself into a lot of the applications that we use every day. So we've got Teamcenter embedded in applications such as Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, Word, and also Outlook, so that you can not only look for and pull information from these various applications, but actually author them right in the application and save it to Teamcenter. You can also use Teamcenter within these particular applications to look for information embedded in Teamcenter and pull that out and start working on it. So now all of your users, all they need to learn is a few simplified PLM functions that look very much like their traditional applications. And Pat and Doug, if you have anything to say about it, just let me know.
Oh, I'd like to say that there's workflows also. So if you're if you're a knowledge worker working just with Office documents, you can get workflow notifications and proceed to approve those and participate in the design process, even though you may have a very limited role like documentation or procurement or something.
Yes, and we'll talk a little bit more about workflow, but in particular, Doug has got a good point with managing information in those other applications. With bill of materials management capabilities in Teamcenter, we can help. BOM definition and configuration in Teamcenter helps you to ensure accuracy and completeness of all who interact with the BOM. Bill of materials management is different depending on your particular product, your particular company profile, but everybody has a challenge in BOM management. With Teamcenter, you can eliminate the cost and errors associated with multiple BOM systems with a complete flexible BOM definition. You can use options, constraints, variations, and effectivities to manage better your BOM configurations and handle more options without additional effort. Maximize efficiency of all BOM processes with BOM analysis capabilities in Teamcenter. Teamcenter enables every user to work in context, maximizing productivity for all who interact with the BOM. Teamcenter supports flexible, context-specific views of the BOM, so users are not bombarded with irrelevant information. Advanced search capabilities, including spatial search, allow users to quickly find relevant information. And digital analysis in context reduces errors and the need for physical prototypes. Accountability checks help to ensure accuracy across the views. We've done a lot with BOM management and worked with a number of customers on managing their bill of materials and the options that they're involved in their business. And finally, Teamcenter Process. Teamcenter Process is a huge part of what we do every day with Teamcenter. And it involves automating processes within an organization. from simple processes with only a few steps to more complex workflows that might include parallel tracks, decision steps, sub-processes, rejection paths, as well as the standard or custom handlers that lets the system automatically execute behind the scenes. All workflows in Teamcenter enable you to build your business logic. In addition, complete audit and history capabilities not only support regulatory requirements, but also help you optimize your processes by identifying bottlenecks, etc. Workflow capabilities in Teamcenter provide the right information at the right time to provide stakeholders, the right time to every stakeholder. With flexible client capabilities, you can access your workflow tasks from anywhere. Automated communication of tasks and data makes sure you have what you need when you need it. Automated process and deliverable updates eliminate time-consuming administrative tasks. That's essentially what workflow is doing for us. There's a lot of automation here that can be gotten from implementation of the workflow processes. And this has been a major part of the discrete manufacturing work that we've been doing with this one customer.
And you know, Paul, one of the great things about it is that when a task is brought to the attention of a user, it's brought in context, and along with that will come any of the supporting information or documents that need to be modified are right there with it as well, so that the user doesn't have to go searching around. They're not just receiving an instruction saying, hey, you have to do this. They're also saying, here are the things that you have to do that upon or use in order to get the task done. Yep.
Thanks, Pat. So with Teamcenter, you can implement change quickly, accurately, and comprehensively. Comprehensive impact analysis to understand the complete scope of impacted data, people, and processes. End-to-end execution. Closed-loop processes and schedule and workflow integrations. Right-sized change process to expedite simple change, formally control complex change. And full change traceability provides audit histories and sign-off reports. There's a lot going on here with change management. Some of it is really out of the box. Some of it is extra modules of Teamcenter that handle complex change processes that our larger customers have encountered. So Teamcenter is really a platform for growth. This is somewhat of a busy slide relative to some of our others, but really what it's saying is that whether you want to host locally or on the cloud, which Teamcenter has the ability to do, or whether you choose a pre-configured solution, like the Rapid Start, Teamcenter Rapid Start, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes, or the full PLM capabilities of Teamcenter that include additional product lifecycle management solutions, like the ECAD integrations, requirements management, or manufacturing to meet your future strategic business goals. Acuity and Siemens can provide the experience and proven solutions that have helped companies around the world harness the power of a single source of knowledge. So this is a scalable solution, and it's a primary point of the presentation here is that Teamcenter can address very quickly and cost-effectively the data issues and process issues that you have today that may be preventing you from growing to the next level. But it is also a solution that is going to handle a lot of what you're going to deal with in the future. And there's just a few of the many things that listed on this slide that it's going to be able to take care of. So Teamcenter Rapid Start is a way of implementing Teamcenter that provides a simple and fast way of installing, setting up, operating, and supporting the system. It's a high-value, pre-configured set of solutions, so pre-configured workflows, pre-configured user roles, and lots of other things that have already been set up in the system. So it's really just a plug and play compared to how we used to implement PLM in years past, where we'd take weeks and weeks to scope out and then maybe a month or 2 or 6 to implement a solid PLM system. Now that whole situation has changed.
It's possible to get started in a few weeks.
Yes, and it's possible to get the initial setup done in a week. So as you see here, Teamcenter Rapid Start delivers a complete pre-configured PDM environment which provides a single source for multi-CAD data management, something that we haven't talked a lot about, but Teamcenter is very good at managing all the major CAD products, has tight integrations with all of them. Document management, which we covered, process management, roles and functionality definition, in addition to other capabilities tied to fast platform deployment. And as you can see here, there's just a few of the many things listed that we can roll out in a rapid start deployment. So in summary, life beyond spreadsheets. Manage, find, and share design data to improve productivity. Manage dependencies to assess impacts of the product changes. Align planning and execution to eliminate rework and costly mistakes. Many of you are probably running into these problems today, so these things are you're very mindful of these problems. Automate the exchange of information to reduce time and errors. And implement change quickly, accurately, and comprehensively. So I just wanted to cover some results of a company that has been a long-time customer of Siemens, Black Diamond. Many of you might recognize this company. They do a lot of outdoor equipment, skis, hiking equipment, and they're very well known. Revenue is well over $100 million. There are consumer products for rock climbing, skiing, and etc. And the software products that they've chosen are the NX CAD/CAM software from Siemens and Teamcenter. The business challenges were really to enable employee innovation and to meet customer needs across a variety of categories. The keys to success: balance Teamcenter software structure with NX system design freedom, a single source of product knowledge, and allowing innovation. And the results: after just a few years, they had a 10-fold increase in collaboration efficiency across multiple global sites, reduced IT costs, faster time to market, and positioned for more growth. So here's a few additional real-world experiences of customers that are using Teamcenter today. With Teradyne, now we actually have a negative project slip. We're not just meeting our promised delivery dates, we're beating them, thanks in part to an improved engineering change management process. With Fokker Services, where we previously used expensive and slow paper procedures, we have now implemented all the processes in a transparent manner in Teamcenter workflows. The process is solid enough to exclude any mistakes. And of course, Ford is a very well-known customer, and Chris Davies there at Ford says, manage software binaries, parameters, and behavior models to reduce warranty costs.
Additionally, Ford was a very early adopter of managed data systems in the 90s.
Yes, and what I read the other day was they've so far saved about $100 million in warranty costs from one particular implementation of Teamcenter. So there's been a lot of money saved in that actual process. So just in next steps, call us. Give us a call. I personally handle a lot of Northern California, our Oregon territory, and Nevada. Sarah Majors is here with us. She handles Washington, Idaho, Utah, Alaska, and Hawaii. And then, of course, Doug Dingus is our technical director.
So I spend a lot of time backing them up, people. So if you want to ask a technical question, give me a call. Doug
is on the phone and talking with us all day, every day to help our customers achieve their goals. So please get in touch with us. Let us know how we can help. And at this point, what I wanted to do is just ask if anybody had any particular questions before we wrapped up the presentation. So we do have a question. Are you seeing much interest in Active Workspace and GeoList? So I will address that, and then I'll have Pat or Doug comment if they've had an experience with it. But yes, I've had a number of customers in the Midwest. We had several hundred customers in the Midwest that we've dealt with that have had GeoList requests for information. We have yet to implement a GeoList piece of Teamcenter. That's not to say Siemens hasn't done a lot of business with GeoList, both here and overseas. Active Workspace, I don't have any personal experience with that. Maybe Doug or Pat can speak to that.
Active Workspace is pretty darn exciting. It's kind of the new direction Siemens is taking with Teamcenter and how you interact with it. It can eventually replace the web client, extend Teamcenter onto mobile. However, it's really new in Teamcenter 10. And typical adoption is the last stable release is the one we're all really doing day-to-day work on, and the new up-and-coming one is the one we're getting excited to work on. So Active Workspace is currently a new feature, Teamcenter 10. We're looking forward to it, but it's not actively being deployed today.